Action, camera, light. Online. So, welcome to the last session of the day. Live demo, Fiori, no plan B. So, if you really
videos.
We have videos as plan B, so it works perfectly. So, I would say give it a big applause. And the stage is yours, Markus. Have fun.
Yeah, thank you. So my name is Markus Königstein. I'm from SAP, and I'm working in the UX engineering department. This is a very big department at SAP, providing, for example, the SAP Fiori Elements framework, which is the main UI framework used at SAP. So for those of you who are not aware what SAP Fiori Elements is, I have only one slide and then only demos. So Fiori Elements, as mentioned, is a development framework. It allows you to generate your UIs very easily based on an OData service. So for example, on an RAP OData service, and the OData service should have also some annotations. And if this is the case, then you get out of the box a list report and object page floor plan. Of course, you can enhance this by additional SAP UI5 code, by custom controls and many more things. So enhancement is always possible. And of course, what we provide is enterprise ready. So meaning the SAP Fiori Element applications are accessible, they are responsive, so you can use them on different devices. They fulfill all security standards and everything what you would expect from an enterprise ready application. Furthermore, what is also very important, they are flexible, so you can extend them easily. I have also one demo where we will see this with a new feature, how you can easily extend them as a key user, but you can extend them also as a developer, and then you can add additional logic to it, you can add additional UI elements to it, and many more things. So that's SAP Fiori Elements in a nutshell. Now I want to give you a glimpse of some of the highlight features which are upcoming with the 2508 shipment. So the first highlight feature I would like to demonstrate to you are the so-called side effect events. These side effect events, they allow updating the UI based on some events in the back end, and we make use of the so-called WebSockets. So you can still work in your Fiori application, and then if, for example, a background job is finished in the back end, then this background job could send such a side effect event, and then the Fiori UI will automatically be updated. I have one demo here of one application, document chain tracing, which will be also delivered with 2508. I'm creating here a new document. I prepared already something. And if I press in a second on the create button, then we will navigate to the object page. And please have a look at the status field on the object page. At the beginning, it is, I think, in preparation, and then after a few seconds, it will change, and also the item table below will change. So basically, this application is starting a background job, and once this is finished, this background job, then the UI will automatically update. So I press now on Create. So you can see in a second when the object page is upcoming, the status is currently scheduled. Now let's wait, the status is updated, and now the status is finished. And I didn't do anything on the UI. And also the item table below was updated automatically. I mean, this job was very fast, but you could imagine that there are some background jobs which take a longer time, and then of course these side effect events make a lot of sense. They are available already in public cloud since 2502, but in private cloud and on-premise, they will be available with the upcoming 2025 shipment. And they can be implemented very easily in RAP. So there are basically three things which you have to do. First thing, in your behavior definition, you need to define these side effect events. So first of all, let's have a look. So we have here a behavior definition. This is implemented in this class. We need to look at the class later on as well. But the interesting part here is that we can define here certain side effect events. So that's a new syntax in from RAP, and we can define a certain event as a side effect event. And then under side effects itself, we define which fields on the UI will be updated. So for example, the event price updated will update the fields booking fee, currency code, and total price on the UI, and so on. So here the travel updated event will update all fields of the header data. So that's step one. You need to define your side effect events. Step two is then in your projection, of course, you have to use the side effects, and you have to use also the events which you have just defined. So that's step two. And step three is, of course, you, in the implementation, somewhere in your behavior definition, you can have here a public static method. So I have here a public static method, which is called rise price updated event. And there you can see that basically this side effect event is being called. And this public static method could be called from anywhere. So if you have somewhere an existing background job, then at the end, once it is finished, then you could call here this method, and then the Fiori UI will be automatically updated. So that's definitely a very interesting new functionality in the Fiori Elements for OData V4 stack. Another thing which is equally interesting is that finally we have in the OData V4 stack also the analytical table available. I have two demos here, and by the way, we had the analytical table on the V2 stack already. However, in the V4 stack, we are much more advanced with that. So we can have the analytical table not only on a list report, but we can have it also on an object page. We can have it together with a draft-enabled entity set. We can have also virtual elements in the CDS view, and they will all work together with the analytical table. So here you see an application. A shipped version of this application is available on the V2 stack, but I rebuilt it in the V4 stack, and you can see here a typical analytical table on list report. So you can see the table is currently grouped by latest posting date, and then of course we have here the subtotals available for the quantities and for the amounts, and we have the total available for everything. So basically for all quantity, amount columns, and here for all columns containing a number. So that's typical functionality of the analytical table. And I have a second example here of another application which will be shipped also with the upcoming release. This is an application where we make use of the analytical table out of the box on an object page. So something which was not possible in the V2 stack, at least not out of the box. So this is something very important. Maybe I need to mention one thing. The analytical table is always read-only. In the V4 stack, we are going to implement, but that's a bigger project, we are going to implement also an editable analytical table, but this is nothing which is upcoming with the 2508 shipment. And maybe just for your information, so the analytical table can be used also from you as customers in the 2025 private cloud or on-premise shipment, and in public cloud it can be used by you as customers with 2602. So as SAP we ship already with 2502 applications making use of the analytical table, but for customers, for you as customers, if you build your own application, then you need to wait for 2602. And the analytical table is extremely easy to implement in ABAP. So if you have a CDS view in ABAP, then of course you need to define somewhere for some of your measures or for some of your key figures that they should be summed up. So the default aggregation method, it could be sum, it could be minimum, maximum, whatever you want to have. So this is one thing which needs to be done. And then we have also a new annotation which has to be defined in order to have an analytical service. This is called OData apply supported for aggregation. you have to specify here the value full. And once you have this, then automatically you get an analytical V4 service, which could be used then in any Fiori application. And then you have the functionality which I've shown to you. So that's also something extremely important for the OData V4 stack. One other thing which is also highly interesting, I think, or should be highly interesting for you as customers, this is something which is going to be shipped in the next month. It's not yet publicly available, but it will be available in the next month, hopefully. This is the next generation of the flexible programming model explorer. This will be the central entry point for Fiori for the OData V4 stack. And basically, you might be aware that Fiori Elements and in general the V4 stack makes use of certain building blocks. So this could be a table, a field, a filter bar, a chart. And all these building blocks are described here in this next generation of the flexible programming model. You get coding examples, how to make use of them. And then, of course, these building blocks are used also within the standard floor plans. So in general, it's always recommended to use the standard floor plans, list report object page. You have various extension options to the standard, which are also described here. So, for example, an object page, you can have a custom section, subsection, action, custom header facets. So there are plenty of extension options. But sometimes it might turn out that even this is not enough. Then, of course, you can use also a custom layout with a custom page, and you can place then all your building blocks on a custom page. And basically, all this is described here in this next generation of the flexible programming model explorer, and it makes life extremely easy for developers, especially also for new developers. So I give you one example. Here we have the standard list report floor plan. We have an example here. We see it here. We have some fields in the filter bar above, and then we have a table below with some table columns. And now the interesting part for you as ABAP developers is, of course, how is this constructed? And if you scroll down, then you can see it's very easy for you as ABAP developers. You can specify the filter fields in the filter bar via the so-called selection field annotation. You simply have to specify a certain position, and then this field will be shown at the respective position in the UI. Or you could have then for your table certain table columns. Also here you find an example in RAP how this looks like. So basically table columns are specified by the so-called line item annotation. Also here you specify a certain position, and then you are already done. And then the column appears on your UI. And this is only one example. You have multiple examples also for work lists and analytical list pages. For the object page and many more things. And also what is very interesting also, if you make use, for example, in custom sections on an object page, if you want to make use there of some building blocks, then it is described with coding examples how to use each of the building blocks. So this is something which makes life really very easy and intuitive for developers to get into the whole Fiori element topic. Yeah, so then we come to some another extremely nice feature which we are going to ship with 2508, and this was requested many times by various customers already. This is the feature that key users would be able to adjust Fiori applications shipped by SAP, and especially adjusting the labels and the text arrangement within a Fiori application. I want to give you an example here. I'm working directly against the main development system, so you have to excuse a little bit the low performance here. Sometimes also CDS views are regenerated in the back end, so it can take some time longer. I hope this comes up, otherwise we have a video. Here we go. So this is a standard application delivered since many years already. And what you can see here, we have here one column which is called journal entry type. This column currently shows the ID of the journal entry type and then the description in brackets. Now, we know that some customers don't like this, what we show here. They would like to see it differently. So let's assume you want to see only the text here. Or you would like to see it differently, first the text and then the ID. But let's assume you want to see only the text. And then also, sometimes there's a requirement that for your whole application, you don't like the text provided by SAP. For example, here, journal entry, you would like to see here document for the whole application. And this will be now with 2508 very easily possible. So the only thing is you need to have key user authorizations. If you have so, then you find here via the Me menu, the entry Adapt UI. Then we come here to the key user mode. So the whole application is reloaded in key user mode. And what we will see here in a second, if I press the right mouse button on the table, then we see here various options for changing the table. Maybe very briefly, this is not part of my demo, but this is also something extremely interesting for you. We have plenty of options in the meantime to modify certain properties of the table. For example, the loading behavior of the table can be influenced by this threshold and scroll threshold property. And for Fiori Elements for Data V4, we have even more properties to be changed. So key user extensibility is really, really powerful in the meantime. But that's not what I wanted to show to you. I wanted to show to you here now the change text arrangement, this new functionality. If I press on that, then let's search here for the journal entry type. So we said we don't want to see ID and then text afterwards. So currently you can see text arrangement is text last. So it means the ID is shown first and then the text. So we said we want to see the text only. So let's change it, press on OK. And the other thing what we wanted to do is we wanted to change a label for the whole application. So let's choose here change label. And there we said we don't like this term journal entry. We would like to see document. So let's simply change that and then press on OK. And what we can do now, if we are done with all our changes, we can simply press here on reload. Then basically the whole application will be reloaded with the temporary changes which we have just done. And what we can see already, this column is renamed. We have it here document, and also if we would go to the filter bar or object page, then we would see also always document here. And now let's have a look at the journal entry type field. For that we need some data in the table. So let's expand here this group analytical table. So here we go, and what we can see here now in this column journal entry type, we have now only the text being shown. So with this functionality, you can easily change then applications delivered by SAP. This is possible for all Fiori Element V2 and V4 applications. And yeah, if you are satisfied with the things which you have done, then you could simply activate this, and then it's available for all end users within one client. I myself don't want to disturb my other development colleagues, so I simply delete what I did here. Okay, so this is text arrangement and label annotations, which can be easily changed. And now I have two last remaining points which I want to share with you. Also things which were requested already by multiple customers. We have some great enhancements with respect to documentation. So one thing which is very important if you have power users at your company, or if you are a power user who enters data on a regular basis in a Fiori application, then it's very important to know all available shortcuts, especially shortcuts for a table. Only if you know the relevant shortcuts, then you can work efficiently with a Fiori application. And the good news is we provide now with 2508 a functionality which allows you to visualize all shortcuts for an existing Fiori application. I make this window a little bit smaller. You will see in a second why. Because we have here now an entry in the Me menu, which is called Keyboard Shortcuts. And this entry will open here a second window next to my first window. And what you can see already is some global shortcuts. Now, if I place the cursor, for example, here to one field in the filter bar, then you will see that the shortcut list changes. So it's context specific. You can see here now the additional shortcuts for the Go button, and here also the Share shortcut. Or if I, and this is very important really, if I go somewhere on the table, I just marked here some cells, but I could mark also a column, then you see here plenty of shortcuts for the table. And if you are entering data in editable tables, then this is highly important that you know at least the most important shortcuts. Or let's give you another example. I navigate here to the object page of this application. And what we can see here now, plenty of global shortcuts from the object page. So for example, the shortcut Control+E for going to the edit mode in the object page. So this is a generic functionality. It's available for all Fiori applications, including also freestyle applications with 2508. And the last documentation topic which I want to share with you, and also my last topic from today's presentation, is that we have an enhancement of the existing help functionality, which is also upcoming with 2508. So if I open here the help functionality, then you might be aware, yeah, we get here plenty of question marks with different help texts. So in the past, basically, you received only help texts for those fields where SAP has explicitly defined a help text for a certain Fiori application. And what we have enhanced now is something which is available already since a longer time for HTML GUI and WebDimpro applications, that we show now for all those fields where we didn't explicitly define a help text, there we show now the help text from the DDIC data element in the backend. So for example, here in this application, this GL account, this is a text from the help text from the data element in the backend, which was not available in older releases. Or if we go to the object page, then you will see also plenty of help texts here available, and some of them are definitely also from DDIC data elements from the backend. So this makes it even more convenient for end users to get help on some Fiori applications, and it makes life also easier for us as SAP, or if you develop own Fiori applications, then you don't have to define help texts necessarily in Subcompanion, but instead you get the help texts which are anyhow available in the ABAP DDIC. Yeah, so this was a small glimpse of 6 features which we have, or which are upcoming with 2508. I would have now more time, but officially my presentation was only 30 minutes, so I prepared only for 30 minutes. We have definitely many more features which are upcoming, but these are 6 highlight features which I presented to you. So just as a summary, we have the very nice functionality of the side effect events, which allows or which enables that basically a developer can influence from the backend that a certain Fiori application should be refreshed. Then we have also the analytical table with a very much enhanced functionality in the V4 stack compared to the V2 stack. And then we will have relatively soon also the next generation of the flexible programming model Explorer, which allows basically developers to get very easily and in a very convenient way into the whole topic of Fiori Elements. Then we have great enhancements for key users. We have seen the option for changing text arrangement and label annotation. And I've briefly shown you also the plenty of options which we have now in Fiori element-based applications, for example, to change certain table properties. And finally, I've shown to you 2 documentation topics which you get with 2508. So basically every Fiori application will have a context-dependent help for the available shortcuts within its application. And we will have also an enhanced F1 help documentation, which will show also all the texts from the data elements in the backend. So thank you very much. I'm not sure, have we time now? So I could answer either now some questions, or I will be.
You can continue your session.
Yeah. A lot of very, very, very cool things upcoming. Very nice. Oh, yes. Looks the back.
Du willst übernehmen, ne? So, questions. Okay, who wants first? I will start, as always, and do the zigzag.
Hello. So thank you for your presentation. I have a question regarding the fourth feature, regarding the label and the column name. So is it in user level or is it in the application level? So it's like saved as a variant like we usually do, or it is an application level? So
yeah, so basically you do it for one application, but as a key user. So key user means this is done then basically for all your users in one client. So a key user does always changes for all users in one client here.
Yeah, also thank you from my side for the great presentation. I have a very specific question about the Adapt UI. So we have the use case that we have in our development system. We have one client that contains no data, so it's a golden client, and then we have another client that's our test client. And the issue with the Adapt UI is for some objects you need to be able to see some data in order to modify it. So for instance, you need to be able to go to the object detail page in order to modify the table on this page. Is there any solution for this? Because the workaround that we're currently using, we do the Adapt UI in our test client, then we transport it back to development, and from there we transport it to the target systems, which is quite a mess. But this was also the guidance that we got from the support. So is there any solution for this in the future?
No, you need indeed some data in order to navigate to the correct page, and then you can call their Adapt UI. I mean, on list report, of course, you don't need any data, but if you want to go to object page or sub-object page, then you need at least some rudimentary data here.
Thank you for the presentation. Some really nice features in terms of user experience. Fiori looks like it's really ready to conquer the GUI people who are really sticking. So I really like some of the features which are coming. And we are currently on 2023 on-premise release, and some of this help text which you mentioned, some comes from the data element, direct tests, and you also mentioned about long text. I would like to be already prepared that when this comes, I can utilize it. But we are doing the build now itself, and what should I create the long text in the domains, or what should I where should I fill the text so that when it comes, then it just starts working for me? Is there some guidance like?
I mean, each data element can have an explanation text.
Yeah.
The same text which you would see in a GUI application if you press on the F1 key. And exactly this documentation is being used here in Fiori and also in WebDimbro applications. So if you want to prepare something or create own applications, then always provide this help text.
But you also mentioned there is an option to see the long text. Is this also part coming from the data element, or is there something else? So you have a short text and a long documentation like in the GUI. If I press F1, then I get a long explanation of the field.
Yes, the explanation is the documentation of the data element.
Okay. Yeah. Okay, and one small wish maybe. Today we have the flexible programming model, like you showed the documentation. We have a lot of node snippets which is available. We are also trying to use more and more TypeScript, but all the examples we have in the documentation is still JavaScript. So if feasible in future, if we can also have a TypeScript, that would be great.
Yeah, thanks for the comment. We will provide TypeScript. This is planned already, hopefully in the first version.
Thanks for the interesting features. When you mentioned analytical table or analytical, it is not supported for the transactional application, right?
You can have it together with graph-enabled services, but it is always read-only currently here. So
Okay.
One of my examples, which I have shown, this was indeed an editable draft-enabled application, and there you have seen the analytical table here.
Because of that presentation only, I'm asking this question. So if I switch to editable mode, so it automatically switch to the smart table, or do I need to create another section?
No, the analytical table is always read-only currently here.
So if I have items, so then I have to create two sections, is it?
I mean, if your requirement is also to edit the items in the same table, then currently, indeed, you would need two tables, create two tables yourself. But as mentioned, this is a functionality which is currently being planned. I can't give any dates. It will definitely take longer, but we are working on that as well. Yeah.
When I saw, I thought it automatically switches. Okay, the second question, in the Adapt UI, you are able to change the labels, right? How about translations of those labels?
This is available via a standard translation process. Basically everything, I mean, in Adapt UI, also in the past, you could change on a very rudimentary basis some labels in a form, and there was also a translation process behind it, and it's the same here.
I have one question. So we keep the key user extensibility for the in-house consultants at the moment, just for kind of like the control on what is changed in the system and not. But what we would like to have is that real key users could save public views, which is not possible because you only have, at the moment, I think you only have like a parameter on each system where you can activate if it's possible to save public views or not in Fiori apps. It would be nice if this can be steered with a ABAP authorization, so with the normal authorizations, and that it's not linked to the normal key user authorization for the whole key user extensibility.
So you want that end users can create also public variants?
Yeah, end users, but linked to an ABAP, to a PFCG authorization, so that we can control who is allowed to do it, and that it's not only linked to this system-wide parameter that either everyone or no one can save it. Yes.
You mean the variant for the list report?
Yeah, also for all, I think it's for all Fiori apps that you, if you here on this example on standard, you can do like save as public view, or you can only normally, if the parameter is not set, you can only save it as a private view, and we want to have this as a control via
so
authorization object. Yes.
What you can do today, you can control only globally if an end user can save public variants. We don't have it with more fine granular authorizations. This might be something for the future here.
Yeah, thanks for the demo. I like the last feature with the F1 help. We are on Steampunk. As far as I know, I can't create a long text for a data element in Steampunk. Do you know something about it? So, and we talked about it. Do you remember?
I would give the question to the person behind.
We have this also on our wish list, yeah. So unfortunately, Thomas has already left. He's
Oh, that's the reason why he left.
So technically, it's the subscript problem, which is not yet available in the ADT, as you know. And
okay.
It's currently the kind of the little hiccup we have.
Yeah. Okay.
Someone else? Someone else?
Yeah, thanks. You showed the documentation for the F1 help on fields. Is there also a possibility to have documentation for the whole app?
Yes, I mean this. What we have here in this SAP Companion, basically there are two options available. So you can define an app-specific documentation, which is either linked to certain elements for the whole application. This is always possible, but then it's only for this Fiori application, and it doesn't make use of anything in the back end here. So this was already possible since a longer time, that you can define here in Companion documentation, and the new part is now that it is linked to data elements here.
But what's this app button? What is?
This is also another thing, global help documentation, which we can provide from SAP here.
Okay. I think that the question was, you want to have a documentation for the app.
Yeah, for this specific app.
So if you go back to the...
I mean, this is here the specific documentation delivered by SAP for this app, yeah.
But not for customer apps.
So if I have a customization app for customizing something, can I provide a documentation for this app?
A custom built application.
I'm not a specialist here, but I would assume that you as customers can also create help documentation in Companion. But I'm not the specialist. I'm not 100% sure here. I mean,
but for the customizing stuff is done via the KTDs, as Frank showed us today. Yeah. Yes. Yeah. If you create a BCMO, then you have the possibility with the KDD to enable a long text documentation. Blocked by.
So we have already done this, so we had just an icon and a link to our internal wiki
about the documentation of our application. So it's not in standard template, but you can manage to add an icon.
Again? Someone else?
Regarding this tool, regarding this help, today there is something called as UI tooltip, which allows you to add some long text for each field. And is this kind of override? So if I have, let's say, the data element which contains the documentation long text, I have also defined my UI annotation for tooltip. Is there something taking preference that, or is it both should work?
I mean, we have a logic here if you have, especially for table columns, that if you have a long text and additional text available, then it would be shown as a tooltip. Here it seems to be that, here you see an example, GL account seems to be the medium text, and then in addition we have a longer text, GL account number, which is shown here as a tooltip.
And if it's a virtual field or virtual element, where should I define this documentation then?
This is not possible for virtual elements. You need to really detect data elements.
Okay.
But I think even if you create a virtual element, then it should come from the data element. But the virtual element can also be connected to a data element via casting.
I mean, of course, you have in CDS, you have the label annotation. This can be used, and I'm not sure, do we have a tooltip annotation in addition? Then it would be used as well, but I'm not sure.
But one thing I just recognized during the whole talk and the Q&A session, there was never said Joule or AI. Some special applause for this.
No more questions. So then I would say thank you very much.
Welcome.
I have to say, I think I need to watch the session maybe 3 times to really process all the information you shared. You are booked for the next keynote. Volker, you are out. And I do not think if you realize how many custom development projects regarding Fiori Elements and your 5 applications for the F1 help you just ended. But it also shows one thing for sure: SAP is investing heavily into Fiori Elements. It is, how did you say it? It's one
Yeah, it's a huge department, really, and I mean, it's the main UI technology which we have.
The main UI technology, that was the word I was searching for. And also it means innovation isn't stopping from SAP, but we also need to invest. So if you're on an older release, I think downporting won't happen, so we also need to be sure that at least from time to time, our customers, our employers are also able to understand the need to invest into S4. There's not just one migration and you are done with S4. You also need to, from time to time, also go to the next S4 release. So if you're on 2023, please plan for 25 or 27 release to get all of this kind of features. If you're on-premise or if you're in a private cloud, doesn't matter. It's an ongoing investment. To also talk, please, to your managers, to your company staff. There isn't just one S4 release and magically this stuff will happen. They need to save the money, invest in you, for sure, but also in the system, and continuously invest into improving the system, because we pay money, license fees, support fees, that SAP is using this money to invest into what we've seen right now, or in the last 2 days, because this is also where our money is going into. SAP is using it to deliver new stuff, but we also have the burden to update our systems to benefit from this kind of innovations.
I mean, an alternative is, of course, if you use the public cloud, then you get everything for free in August, automatically.
but also, if you go to the public cloud or to Steampunk, for instance, you have to also invest to go to there and make your system ready. I mean, maybe next year we have a talk from Frank about how to update and maintain a solution on Steampunk, because this is also not just like doing it one time and then you are safe for the next 20 years. This is also an ongoing investment. This is also what we have to understand and our employer have to understand. It's an ongoing investment, and not just into the system, but also, as Jörg said in this location keynote, also in the people, in us. So please talk to your companies next time that they invest also in you. And that's das Wort zum Sonntag. See you next